The year was 1940. Europe was burning, engulfed in the flames of a war that had shattered peace and redefined the limits of human endurance and technological innovation. In the United States, the looming threat was felt but not yet fully confronted. Behind closed doors and guarded factories, a revolution was quietly taking shape, one that would determine the very fate of aerial combat for years to come. In a sprawling manufacturing plant nestled deep in the Midwest, the air hung heavy with the metallic scent of oil and heated steel. The din of machines pounding away echoed through cavernous halls, interspersed with the low murmur of engineers debating designs and technicians assembling components with painstaking precision. Among them was James Hargrave, a man who had spent decades perfecting aircraft engines and who now faced the most daunting challenge of his career.
We're pushing the boundaries of what's possible
With graying
here.
hair and sharp, analytical
This
eyes,
engine has
James
to work.
carried the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. For months, he had led a diverse team of experts, pooling knowledge from aerodynamics, metallurgy, and combustion science to create a power plant unlike any before. Gentlemen and ladies, he began during a tense morning briefing, our task is unprecedented. We are not just building an engine. We are crafting the beating heart of a fighter that will decide battles, shape the war, and save lives. Every miscalculation, every shortcut, could cost us dearly. Around him, faces reflected a mixture of determination, fatigue, and hope. Among the team was Maria Rodriguez, a young machinist whose family had emigrated seeking a better life. Her nimble fingers delicately assembled fuel injectors and turbochargers, knowing that the success of the P-38 depended on her unwavering precision. Outside the factory walls, newsreels showed images of bombed-out cities and heroic pilots dogfighting at dizzying altitudes. The public was largely unaware of the secret struggles within this industrial crucible, the trial and error, the failures and small triumphs that were the unseen foundation of victory. Meanwhile, in training fields hundreds of miles away, pilots like Lieutenant Anna Mitchell practiced maneuvers on older planes, their minds filled with dreams of flying faster, higher, and stronger. Anna's sharp instincts and steady nerves made her a standout, but she knew the future belonged to machines powered by engines like the one James and his team were building. The pressure was immense. Intelligence reports spoke of enemy aircraft faster than anything previously encountered, of technologies that threatened to outpace Allied forces. The urgency in the factory was palpable, deadlines loomed, tests were scheduled, and failures had to be solved quickly. As dusk fell and the factory lights flickered on, the team toiled late into the night, aware that the engine they built today could change the course of history tomorrow. The months following the frantic nights and relentless days of development brought a moment that felt almost surreal. In a cavernous assembly hall lit by harsh overhead lights, the first prototype engine of the P-38 Lightning sat gleaming on its test stand, a testament to the relentless dedication of James Hargrave and his team. This engine was more than just metal, it was the culmination of countless experiments, failures, redesigns, and breakthroughs. Every bolt, gear, and valve had been carefully crafted and meticulously assembled to create a power plant unlike any the world had seen before. The core of this revolutionary engine was its twin V12 turbocharged design, each cylinder forged from specially treated alloys that resisted the punishing heat and pressure of high-altitude combat. But the true innovation lay in the tiny valve mechanism embedded deep within the fuel injection system, a valve so small that to the untrained eye it would seem insignificant, yet its function was crucial. This valve, designed by a brilliant young engineer named Samuel Keller, was capable of automatically regulating fuel pressure and flow based on altitude and engine load. Unlike traditional systems that relied on manual adjustments or crude mechanical controls, Keller's valve used a pioneering pressure-sensitive design that allowed the engine to breathe and adapt in real time. This meant that the P-38's engine could maintain optimal power and efficiency whether it was cruising at high altitude or diving at breakneck speed. Samuel, who had worked late into the night perfecting the design, stood quietly in the corner, watching as the engine was readied for its first full test run. His heart pounded with anticipation and nervous excitement. He knew that the success or failure of this tiny part could determine the fate of the entire aircraft. As the test began, technicians crowded around control panels filled with dials and gauges. The engine roared to life with a deep, resonant growl, vibrating through the floor. Pressure stabilized, temperatures rose and leveled off, and the secret valve operated seamlessly, adjusting fuel flow as sensors relayed real-time data. Maria Rodriguez, who had assembled many of the parts with her own hands, watched with a sense of pride that swelled her chest. "It's alive," she whispered. "It's really alive." The engine ran for hours, enduring stress tests that simulated combat conditions, withstanding sudden shifts in altitude and speed without faltering. Each successful cycle brought cheers, cautious smiles, and the knowledge that the impossible was inching closer to reality. Yet, amid the excitement, James Hargrave reminded the team of the road ahead. "This is just the beginning," he said solemnly. "We must remember that this engine will face the ultimate test, in the hands of pilots who will rely on it to survive in the deadliest skies. Our job is far from over." The birth of this legend marked a new chapter in aviation history, one where human ingenuity and mechanical precision combined to forge a weapon that would change the face of war forever. The early spring morning was cold and sharp with the scent of pine and earth as Captain Robert Sinclair climbed into the cockpit of the P-38 prototype. His hands were steady, but his mind was sharp. He knew the risks of testing an unproven engine far outweighed the rewards. Yet, he also understood the vital importance of pushing the machine to its limits, for only then could its true potential be revealed. The airstrip was nestled in a remote valley surrounded by towering mountains. The jagged peaks loomed overhead like silent sentinels, their shadows casting long fingers across the runway. As the engine roared to life, the vibrations coursing through the airframe reminded Sinclair of the beast he was about to tame. Throttle fully open, the P-38 surged forward, its twin engines howling in a powerful duet. The plane lifted effortlessly, climbing into the cold mountain air with surprising grace. Sinclair adjusted his course, aiming to test the engine's performance during a steep climb at altitude, a critical maneuver for evading enemy fighters. But as the altitude increased, the engine's rhythm faltered. A faint stutter became a violent roar, and flames suddenly licked the engine cowling. Heat surged through the cockpit, and alarms began their shrill warnings. Sinclair's heart hammered against his ribs as he fought to control the aircraft amid the growing chaos. His training kicked in. Quick, decisive action was all that stood between survival and catastrophe. He cut the throttle, activated the fire suppression system, and prepared for an emergency descent. The valley below rushed up to meet him as he maneuvered the plane toward the narrow mountain airstrip, eyes scanning for any sign of safe landing. Skidding across the rough terrain, the plane finally came to a jarring halt. The fire was extinguished, but the damage was clear. Sinclair was shaken but alive, and his detailed report to the engineers would become a crucial turning point. Back at the factory, the incident sent shockwaves through the team. Hargrave, Keller, and their colleagues pored over the data. Every detail was dissected: the cooling system, fuel flow, material stress points, and the secret valve's performance under pressure. Months of redesign followed. New alloys were tested for better heat resistance. The cooling system was redesigned with improved airflow channels and additional radiators. The tiny valve mechanism was refined to respond more quickly and accurately to pressure changes, reducing the risk of fuel surges that had caused the fire. Throughout the process, the spirit of resilience permeated the team. Failure was not defeat but a vital teacher. Each setback sparked renewed determination, fueling countless late nights filled with adjustments, tests, and more tests. Captain Sinclair returned several times, ready to push the prototype further, risking his life to ensure the safety and reliability of the engine. His bravery and feedback helped transform a fragile experiment into a robust and reliable power plant. These trials forged the P-38 engine into a legend, a machine capable of not only surviving but thriving in the brutal demands of aerial warfare. The sun rose over the Pacific Theater with a blazing intensity, casting long golden beams that shimmered across the endless expanse of ocean. On a remote island airfield, Lieutenant Anna Mitchell stood beside the sleek frame of the P-38 Lightning, the gleaming twin engines reflecting the dawn light like twin beasts ready to roar. Anna's heart pounded with anticipation. Years of grueling training, countless hours in less capable planes, and the relentless hope of proving herself in a world dominated by men all converged in this moment. She was one of the very few women trusted with piloting the P-38, and she intended to show the world, and herself, just how formidable she could be. Climbing into the cockpit, Anna felt the familiar thrill of control and command. The cool metal of the control stick met her hands, and the dials and gauges before her blinked to life with soft illumination. With a practiced hand, she initiated the engine start sequence. The twin V-12s roared to life, filling the air with a deep, powerful sound that vibrated through the frame and into Anna's bones. This was no ordinary machine. This was a weapon of speed, precision, and endurance, powered by an engine that had survived fire, failure, and relentless refinement. As she taxied onto the runway, Anna could feel the engines responding instantly to her commands, a seamless connection between pilot and machine. She pushed the throttles forward, and the P-38 surged ahead with a force that pressed her back into the seat. The plane lifted smoothly, climbing into the vast, blue sky. At altitude, the true magic of the engine revealed itself. The secret valve and advanced cooling systems allowed the plane to maintain optimal power without faltering, even as Anna executed complex maneuvers, sharp climbs, steep dives, and tight turns that left lesser aircraft struggling. In the thick of battle, this performance meant the difference between life and death. Anna recalled one mission escorting a squadron of bombers deep into enemy territory. Flak exploded around them, enemy fighters swarmed like angry wasps, but the P-38s held their ground. "Trust your engines," Anna whispered to herself as she banked hard to avoid an incoming burst of fire. The plane responded instantly, the power plant surging with reliability and strength. With a roar, she dove on an enemy fighter, her guns blazing. Every second counted, every decision was razor-sharp. Thanks to the engine's unwavering performance, Anna returned from the mission unscathed, the P-38 a steadfast guardian in the skies. News of the P-38's capabilities spread quickly among Allied pilots. It was fast, it was powerful, and it could endure missions that pushed other aircraft to their limits. Its engines were its soul, a silent force powering every dive, climb, and sprint. Behind every successful sortie was the unseen work of engineers, mechanics, and factory workers whose dedication ensured that each engine leaving the assembly line was a promise of survival. Far from the roar of engines and the thunder of aerial combat, in the dimly lit factories and scattered frontline airstrips, the true backbone of the P-38's success lay in the tireless hands and unwavering dedication of countless unsung heroes. Maria Rodriguez wiped the sweat from her brow as she carefully aligned a fuel injector, the tiniest misalignment potentially catastrophic in flight. Day after day, shift after shift, she assembled hundreds of engines with relentless focus. Her fingers, calloused and nimble, moved with practiced precision, as if every part had its own story. I remember my father saying, "Every bolt you tighten could save a pilot's life," Maria said once to a fellow worker. It's not just about machines. It's about hope, survival, and something bigger than all of us. Across thousands of miles and countless time zones, mechanics like Corporal James Evans faced their own battles. Stationed at a forward airbase on a Pacific island, Evans and his crew worked under sweltering sun and frequent enemy bombardments. Their task was grueling: to maintain, repair, and often jury-rig the P-38's complex engines to keep them battle-ready. One sweltering afternoon, Evans found himself lying beneath a P-38 with a toolbox in hand, racing against time as alarms echoed overhead signaling an incoming air raid. Sweat poured down his face, and the hum of distant explosions was a grim reminder of the stakes. "Those engines don't just run on fuel," Evans would say later. "They run on grit, on every wrench turn, every sleepless night, every bolt tightened with care." Logisticians orchestrated a complex dance of supply lines, ensuring fuel, spare parts, and tools reached the front lines despite treacherous seas and enemy interdiction. Truck drivers navigated bomb-damaged roads, warehouse workers organized shipments, and communication officers coordinated the flow of information. Together, these unseen contributors formed a vast, interconnected web. Their efforts transformed raw materials into a weapon of precision and power, a machine capable of dominating the skies. Despite their critical role, their stories often went untold. Yet, without their steadfast commitment, the P-38 and its revolutionary engine would have remained just blueprints and dreams. The true power of the P-38 lay not just in its innovative engineering but in the collective spirit of every individual who brought it to life, from the factory floor to the cockpit and beyond. The dense humidity clung to the skin like a heavy cloak as Captain David Chen's squadron prepared for one of the most critical missions of the Pacific campaign. The enemy bombers threatened to rain destruction upon Allied forces entrenched on Guadalcanal, and the P-38 stood as the last line of defense. The engines of the P-38s rumbled deep and steady, a powerful symphony of mechanical might waiting to be unleashed. For Chen, each engine's roar was more than noise, it was a promise of speed, endurance, and deadly precision. As they lifted off from the airstrip, the sunlight danced off the twin engines' polished surfaces, casting flickers of light across the cockpit. The squadron climbed rapidly, racing against time and the gathering storm clouds that threatened to shroud their approach. Suddenly, the horizon darkened with the ominous shapes of enemy bombers, flanked by fighter escorts slicing through the air like lethal arrows. Chen's heart pounded, but his confidence in the P-38's engine steadied his nerves. "Steady and fast," Chen commanded. "Trust the power beneath you." The squadron accelerated, the twin-turbocharged V-12s pushing the planes through turbulent skies with unmatched agility. Chen felt the engines respond instantly to every command, the secret valve mechanism ensuring optimum fuel flow despite the violent maneuvers. They dove through clouds, weaving past flak bursts and enemy fire. Chen targeted the lead bomber, unleashing a deadly barrage of cannon fire. The bomber spiraled down in flames, but the fight was far from over. Enemy fighters swarmed, trying to outflank the P-38s, but Chen's squadron used the superior speed and climbing power of their aircraft to gain the upper hand. The engines didn't just provide speed, they provided the stamina to fight relentlessly, climb higher, and outmaneuver foes. After an intense, harrowing engagement that seemed to stretch for hours, the enemy was broken. The skies cleared, and the battered squadron returned home, engines humming with quiet strength. Chen's debriefing was filled with praise for the engines that had carried them through. "We owe our lives to those machines," he said. Their power and reliability turned a desperate fight into a decisive victory. The P-38 and its revolutionary engine became more than tools of war, they became symbols of resilience, innovation, and the unyielding spirit of those who fought to protect freedom. As the thunder of war gradually faded and the world began to rebuild from its scars, the P-38 Lightning and its remarkable engine took their place in the annals of history, not just as instruments of conflict but as symbols of human ingenuity, perseverance, and the transformative power of innovation. Museums across continents displayed the sleek, distinctive silhouette of the P-38, its twin booms and central nacelle instantly recognizable to aviation enthusiasts and historians alike. Visitors admired its aerodynamic elegance, but few truly understood the story beating within its metallic heart. The engine, once a prototype, forged through fire and failure, stood as a monument to countless hours of tireless labor, relentless problem-solving, and unwavering dedication. The small valve mechanism, that hidden marvel conceived by Samuel Keller, was now a standard for future engines, inspiring generations of engineers to push the boundaries of what was possible. Veterans who had flown the P-38 spoke of the engine with reverence. Lieutenant Anna Mitchell, now retired, recounted her missions with pride, emphasizing the bond between pilot and machine. "It wasn't just an engine," she said. "It was a partner that never let me down, even when everything else seemed uncertain." The legacy extended beyond the cockpit. Maria Rodriguez's descendants, inspired by her pioneering work in the factories, pursued careers in engineering and manufacturing, carrying forward a tradition of excellence and determination. The mechanics who had struggled under harsh conditions were honored posthumously, their stories finally told in books and documentaries. Corporal James Evans's ingenuity and grit became case studies in battlefield maintenance and innovation. Beyond the personal stories lay a broader truth: the war accelerated technological progress, but it was the human spirit, the engineers, pilots, factory workers, and logisticians, that transformed machines into legends. The P-38's engine set new standards for reliability, adaptability, and power. Its influence resonated through the jet age and into modern aviation, a testament to what could be achieved when passion met precision. In quiet hangars, preserved P-38s still sit, their engines silent but immortalized. They whisper stories of courage, innovation, and the relentless pursuit of excellence. They remind us that behind every great machine is a legion of unseen heroes, each playing a vital role in the tapestry of history. This hidden heart of victory endures, inspiring future generations to dream bigger, work harder, and reach higher, because sometimes, the smallest parts hold the greatest power.